Welcome back to another video, and today I am going to be showing you guys how to rank in LLMs. Some people call it GEO, some people call it AI SEO, some people call it generative ranking, whatever the nickname for it is now when it comes to LLM SEO. So ranking basically higher in AI overviews, in ChatGPT, and Claude. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do it step by step. In this video, I've put together maybe a 20-point checklist that you guys can follow. If you want the link to this checklist, it will be down in the description, so you can actually get access to it. It's completely free to use. Just make certain that you obviously make a copy when you get it. So you can go to File, make a copy, and then obviously you can actually edit and access it as and when you need to. And also, if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe and also hit the like button. We are doing daily SEO/AI videos yet again. So starting off with one of the most important sections when it comes to ranking in AI or in LLMs is the semantic content, the content strategy on our own website. So this is an asset that we actually own. This is the first step that we want to make certain is optimized. So when LLMs basically come ranking or crawling our website, it clearly knows what we do, who we are, where we're based, and what our customers are as well. So first of all, we have got building entity first pages. Each page should clearly define one main entity and three to five supporting entities as well. So for example, if we've got a page talking about boiler installation in Manchester, that could then link to Gas Safe Register, Valiant, which is a boiler brand, and then we've also got Manchester City, which is a location. So in that case, we've got a specific type of service, we've got a brand that is like a boiler brand, and we've also got a city, which basically would mean that we've got three entities on that page. So every page, that's, again, as a rule of thumb, that's what you should be aiming for. When I've looked at a lot of websites, they don't have that. That's why they're not ranking in AI overviews. So for example here, right, if I was to search what are the best dentists in Manchester, right, for your business to get pulled into this, Google, first of all, needs to realize, A, you are a dentist company, B, which services you provide, and C, that you're actually in Manchester, right? So this goes for any type of business. It doesn't matter if you're a boiler, it doesn't matter if you're a hairdresser, it doesn't matter if you are a dentist, right? A lot of the time, this is what you actually need. Now, the reason why I've pulled this snippet up is because I was looking at a set of websites the other week, and this is dentists in Oldham, right? Now, this company here, they've only just got Rhodes Street Dental as the H1 now again, as the page title of their website. Now, if you wanted to rank for this specific area, especially in LLMs and AI overviews, you would want to make certain that you actually have got Oldham within your page title, because although it's not SEO, a lot of LLM and GEO stuff still relies on you having a strong foundation when it comes to your SEO rankings. The next checklist that we're going to mention is using semantic triples. So what that means is basically it's really, really clear for Google or for AI or for LLMs to understand certain entities about your company. Now, the reason why we do that is because when LLMs come to crawl our website and come to retract information from our website, it should be really easy for LLMs to extract all of the information. So for example, this is a sentence here. Kasra Dash founded the Masterminders Conference, right? It's very easy that I am the founder of the Masterminders Conference. However, if this sentence was really fluffy, like if it was something along the lines of Kasra Dash helped found the Masterminders in 2023 conference, it's not clear. And in some cases, if you're solely relying on AI and you're not fact checking and you're not ensuring all of the sentences are properly optimized, if you're, for example, going into ChatGPT and saying, hey, write me an article on dentistry in Oldham, right? It will spit out some article that isn't actually SEO optimized and it's not LLM ready. So we want to make certain that our sentences obviously include semantic triples. We also want to optimize our internal linking as well. So you can use certain tools like Screaming Frog and Sitebulb when it comes to that. One thing that I would say is do not use generic anchors. Try to be as descriptive as you possibly can. Don't use anchors when it comes to your internal linking, like read more, for example. So if we take a look at this article here, right, this has actually got two really good examples that I wanted to show you guys. So they've got a bullet point / question, and this is basically saying, how many solar panels do I need in the UK, right? The average home needs 8 to 13 solar panels, right? Now, going back to what we were saying, it is very, very clear from the word go that how many solar panels a house needs. Now, in some cases, I have seen websites in this exact same niche and they do not answer, they do not spit out the answer. They'll say something like, well, it depends on the size of the house, how many rooms it has. Google doesn't care about that. Google wants an answer, right? So there's no point beating around the bush. You want to be very, very direct with your question and answering. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is how well they have internally linked. So, for example, before installing solar panels, boom, it is linking to their solar panels page. This is what you would want to do. If you do want to check out their website, it is called greenmatch.co.uk. They're actually doing a fairly decent job with their actual SEO campaign. If we were to take a look at like all their other internal links as well, right? At no point do they ever say read more or learn more here. Right, it's always talking about, like, for example, commercial solar panels, garden solar panels, right? Everything is just very, very direct, and you know exactly where you're going when you click one of their internal links. Then what you want to do is build contextual bridges. So connect clusters with causal or relation sentences. So a way of thinking about that, right, is if you've got a page talking about boiler maintenance, you could internally link to carbon monoxide leaks, because if somebody is usually getting their boiler maintained, they're not going to end up having a carbon monoxide leak, right? So that's how you want to be thinking when it comes to your internal linking and making certain what to actually include on certain pages. The last thing that we're going to talk about in the content strategy is making certain that we are clearly defining key terms so LLMs can quote your definitions. Now, in some cases, you might talk about, for example, topical authority, right? Now, you again need to realize that some LLMs, or you should treat all LLMs, AI, as a child almost, right? So if you're talking about a very advanced topic, you almost want to break it down, and the best way that you can do this is by having like a definition block or a quote section on your website or on your web page. Now, say for example, if we're talking about topical authority, we might have a section within our content saying topical authority is a measure of how comprehensive a site covers a subject. Now, the reason why we do that, right, most of our readers, I would like to assume, understands topical authority, or most people watching this video understands topical authority. But in some cases, if you're talking about a certain subject, or if you're talking about a certain niche product, you need to train the LLMs on what that specific product is. And the best way that you can do that is by having a section on your website, on your web page, doing that. Now, I've kind of done the exact same thing on my own website. So I've used like a block section, and I'm talking about like thin content pages and ranking factors. And I've said in a block quote, use tools like Screaming Frog to identify thin pages and expand them with rich, detailed content, incorporating multimedia outbound links where necessary, right? Basically, this is not necessarily for the readers, but it's also for LLMs as well when it comes to crawling my website. There's a variety of different ways you can do this. This is just with block quotes. Again, we're helping feed more information to the LLMs. The next thing that you can obviously do is having an about page, offer, or contact information as well. Now, in my case, on my own website, if we scroll down to the very bottom, you will see that we actually have my face there, a little bit about myself as well. Now, I would recommend doing this. Again, these guys have also done it. If we scroll up, as you can see, written by Hannah Maza, edited by Rawil Ahmed, and also last updated 30th of April 2025. Now, the more information that you can give it like this, again, the LLMs will help, or you'll basically help the LLMs, and they will obviously think that you are more of an expert if you're specifically talking about solar panels, or if you're specifically talking about SEO. Now, this next one is a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, and I'll explain in just a second. Now, I'm a big fan of using schema. I think that it can definitely help, not even just in the LLM and the AI space, but it can help from a variety of different reasons. Like previously, I searched for what are the best dentists in Manchester, and although ChatGPT, I believe, or OpenAI have recently came out and said, like, we do not look at schema, we just look at what's being said on the actual website. But in some cases, if you are trying to rank higher, or if you're trying to be seen as a major entity, for example, in Manchester for a dental practice, I would still recommend using schema. I would definitely just not completely ignore it. The next thing is obviously building entity hubs, so topic clusters. Now, again, it's very hard for Google and also LLMs to trust your website if you don't have enough knowledge. Now, there's certain websites in certain industries that get mentioned a lot more because they have a lot of content to do with hiking, or they have a lot of content to do with SEO, for example, right? So if you are able to demonstrate that you truly understand what you're talking about, whether it's SEO, whether it's on-page SEO, whether it's hiking, whatever the case is, LLMs and also Google will be able to cite your website a lot more. Now, the reason why this is important is a lot of people think that they can have one or two pages, one or two blog articles live on their website, and the LLMs will automatically trust them. Now, trust is obviously earned by the amount of articles that you produce, the amount of expertise that you put out on the web. Now, there's in certain cases, people solely go on to ChatGPT and they will write an author's name. Like, for example, can you get me the last 5 articles that Kasra Dash produced, or the 5 videos that Kasra Dash produced? And if your name isn't consistently being seen attached to your industry, then obviously you're going to have some issues ranking in LLMs. Now, if we take a look at this, for example, who are the best online reputation management experts? As you can see, we've got Scott Keever, Nestor, James Dooley, myself, and Leo Sulas, right? Now, if I didn't have a strong online presence to do with digital marketing, to do with online marketing, SEO, ORM, then my name would not be able to actually show up in any of these AI overviews. So again, you want to make certain, if it's, for example, an offer, or whether it's a business, for example, you're making certain that everything is actually marked down in the AI overviews using schema. And you also want to make certain that you're obviously building that topical authority, building the content clusters. So Google can obviously assign you with the expert in tree surgery or the expert in SEO. That's exactly what we've basically been able to do with this AI overview, where we're actually ranking, right? So we've got obviously myself there. Now, one thing that not many people know about is AI overviews tend to quote the first one or two sentences on your actual page. So make certain that they are obviously entity rich. Now, again, we've used an example here where we are talking about boiler replacement in Manchester typically cost £1,800 to £3,000 depending on the actual brand, etc. Right? Now, you want to make certain that obviously if you are going after like an FAQ style question and answer, you're spitting out the answer as quickly as possible. Now, the last section when it comes to on-page and structural SEO is if you are in more of like a health industry, you're talking about, for example, diets or certain things like that that fall under the your money, your life area, right? If you are citing a specific fact, you want to make certain that you are backing it up. Now, for example, according to UK government energy data, ONS 2024, and then you can obviously internal link to the government website or where you found that, claim. Now, if you're not actively doing this, then you're not actually citing a credible source, meaning that even the things that you publish on your website might not then get cited in LLMs. The number one thing when it comes to facts, for example, getting facts pulling into LLMs, ChatGPT, AI, etc., is if you are citing something that's like really wild, like let's say, for example, you mention on your website that if you smoke 15 cigarettes a day, it can cause XYZ disease, right? And this might be true, but if you're not backing this up with sites or with credible sources, high authority sources, then that will, or LLMs will struggle to pull that in. Now, they've basically created a system in place that stops false news. And if you aren't being able to cite credible sources, you're going to have a really hard time. Now, again, this is for like health situations. If you're just a plumber in Manchester trying to rank, right, it's not going to be that extremely difficult. Like, don't think that you need to start citing sources on every single blog article. It's only for medical stuff, or for example, if you're talking about finance, again, certain industries like that, you need to be a little bit more citation worthy, like linking to high authority sources and stuff. But if you're like a plumber or a local business, you probably might not need to worry about this step. Then we've got technical and crawl optimization. Now, obviously, you want to make certain that you are crawling your website with tools like Screaming Frog, for example, or you can obviously use Sitebulb as well. Two really good auditing tools. The reason why we want to make certain our website is actually crawl worthy and it's actually being picked up is if your website is, for example, super slow, or maybe you've got like loads of broken links or loads of technical SEO issues, very quickly all the LLMs will stop coming back and crawling your website, no matter how good your content is, no matter how good your backlinks are. You want to just make certain that you've got a good, strong technical foundation. Now, again, this is probably for a separate video, but if you haven't already, run a Screaming Frog audit, figure out any of the issues. If you don't know how to use Screaming Frog, let me know. I will create a separate video, but that probably deserves its own video. The next check that we want to do is we want to make certain that our website actually has got a sitemap. Now, again, this is very similar to SEO, right? Whenever a LLM, whether it's OpenAI, Claude, whoever comes to crawl your website, whichever bot it is, one of the very first files that it's going to obviously take a look at is your robots.txt. Now, if you've never looked at what your robots.txt file looks like, I just load up a random website, robots.txt. This is basically what it looks like, right? So we've obviously got certain pages that we allow, that we've got certain bots that we can obviously disallow from crawling as well. But then, as you can see here, right at the bottom, we have got the sitemap. So whenever a AI bot, for example, whether it's ChatGPT, comes, the first thing that it's going to obviously take a look at is our sitemap. Now, for whatever reason, actually, sorry, there we go, pages. As you can see, this is where all of our pages basically stay. So that's one of the first things that all the AI bots, LLMs and stuff like that is going to crawl. Now, if your sitemap.xml isn't accessible, that's when, again, you're going to cause a lot of issues. If it's not accessible, that technically means that Google or OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity might not crawl your entire website. It might crawl certain parts. So you want to make certain that all of your pages are actually on this. Now, I don't think that all of the pages for this website is actually on here, which is a little bit of a concern for these guys. But obviously make certain that you do that check for your own website. Now, the next step when it comes to technical SEO is making certain that our website is semantically HTML5 relevant, right? So obviously we've got, for example, brackets to do with articles. We've got a side if we're using sidebars, main, slit section, etc. One thing that I would probably say for this step, if you're not much of a developer, probably show this to your actual developer. They'll be able to sort it within 5-10 minutes across all your site, especially if you're using WordPress and you're using page templates as well. Then we have got including vector embedding. So storing or exposing page embeddings for external AI search or hybrid retrieval. So embedding pages into... So I've actually decided to remove that last technical step, mainly because it probably deserves its own video and not everyone would actually need it. So the next step is our authority and also our trust. So acquiring contextual backlinks, in brackets, entity matching, right? So let's take a look at some actual websites here. If we were to take a look at, or if we were to do a search for best SEO tools, let's say. Now there's an AI overview here. We've obviously got Reddit, Zapier, YouTube mentioned. In here, we can obviously click through and there's going to be definitely more. Like we've got all-in-one SEO, we've got Surfer SEO, we've got Elementor. Now, all of these websites have one thing in common. If say, for example, I launched an SEO tool tomorrow and I wanted to show higher in this AI overview, I would be creating a list of all of these websites that I would then decide to reach out to. The reason for that is because these are what's called like listicles. They're listing maybe 5, 6, 10, 15, 25 of our competitors. And currently, right now, we aren't anywhere to be seen. So that's really important when it comes to both acquiring contextual links, but also being shown on the actual knowledge graph as well. So a few other things that you can obviously do when it comes to the knowledge graph is making certain that you've got a Wikidata, making certain that you've got Crunchbase, or your structured profiles are helping with your entity. So what I mean by structured profiles is making certain that you also have got your social media. You've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. All of these will also help create a knowledge graph for your brand as well. So then the next step when it comes to authority and trust signals is making certain that we are getting our brand mentioned along with context. Now, previously what a lot of people would do is they would just plaster their brand anywhere and everywhere that they could possibly find. However, let's say we were going to be doing this for my own SEO conference, right? If I was going to have my brand mentioned on another website, I might go with something like Kasra is a SEO strategist and the founder of the Masterminders. That way it's clear as day what I do, who I am, and what I am attached to, which is my conference, the Masterminders. Then we've got our AI visibility and testing section. Now, if we take a look here, we have got tests for entity recognition. So ask LLMs, what is brand XYZ known for? Now, let's say, for example, you are a bakery and it comes back and it says you are a plumbing company. You've got some major issues. You probably don't have enough brand mentions with actual context. So you would probably want to go back to this section here and making certain that your brand is mentioned along with the context of what you do, who you are, what you provide. Now, we can obviously do this very, very quickly with ChatGPT, for example. Now, if we take a look here, what is the Masterminders known for? And I'm hoping it comes back saying that we are a SEO conference, because otherwise it will be incorrect. So the Masterminders is known for one of the most exclusive, results-driven and SEO digital marketing conferences created by Kasra and James Daly. This is slightly incorrect, but we move forward. Elite Mastermind format, global SEO authority, no filter tactical context, curated networking, ROI focused sponsorships. Now, one thing that I would actually recommend you guys do is try this on multiple LLMs, because you would be surprised in how much one differs to another. So again, we will take a look here. Masterminders is known as the UK's leading SEO conference, held annually, with the next event scheduled for 24th to the 26th of 2026. Brings together over 250 marketers and top SEOs from more than 25 countries. That's perfect. It is actually citing a lot of our trusted links as well. So if we take a look at the sources, we've obviously got a lot of actual brand mentions here as well. Now, obviously, we've just done section number 2 here, but we want to try to figure out if Claude's saying the same, if Gemini's saying the same, if ChatGPT's saying the same, if all 3, 4, 5 of them are saying the exact same thing about your brand, which this is probably one of the more important checks to do. That means that there is enough consensus online saying the exact same thing. There's enough context around your brand. One thing that you also want to make certain that you are doing is tracking your mentions as well. Now, one thing that you can obviously do is you can search Google Alerts, and you can put in whatever brand that you want. So you can put in your name, you can put in your company, you can put in whatever. And you basically want to make certain that you are getting alerts every time your brand is actually being mentioned, because that way that you can actually monitor what's being said. For example, if there's a false narrative that's being said, you can very, very quickly put out another article, put out a press release, for example, actually stating the fact about this. Now, if we take a look at my own name, for example, as you can see, one of the very most recent mentions that I had was top 5 best online reputation management experts in the world, making a global impact in 2026, right? So that's been put out there. I'm happy for that to be put out, because my name's associated with something that is actually good and positive as well. Now, one thing that you also want to make certain of is if, say, for example, you're talking about a new subject, you want to make certain that you actually have got trusted sources mentioning you as well. Now, again, we've just used Perplexity for this. There's certain tools or certain LLMs that I prefer for certain tasks. And I would say that Perplexity is one of the better ones when it comes to citing sources, because it just gives you so many. Now, I've just searched Topical Authority SEO Kasra, right? And if I click on sources, you'll very quickly see that there's a lot of different videos. There's a lot of different websites talking about Topical Authority. I've even got like my Twitter and stuff. But if we take a look here, and as you can see, Kasra-Dash's AI Enhanced SEO Mastery Key Strategies from SEO Reborn Summit. Now, this is from a course that I'd done maybe about a year ago, talking about Topical Authority and how important it is. So very quickly, LLMs do associate my name for Topical Authority as well. And again, that's super important when it comes to making certain that your offers actually have brand authority and actual expertise within a certain industry as well. The last thing that you want is optimizing for consensus retrieval. So again, this kind of goes hand in hand with the add brand mentions with context. But again, the more places that you can be seen, the more social media channels, YouTube descriptions, podcasts, blog articles that you can put out about a certain subject, that's when Google can trust you a lot more. Like, I would not be able to show up in all of these AI overviews for my name if I didn't have so many YouTube videos online, if I didn't have a blog article online, if I didn't speak at conferences, if I hadn't done all the podcasts, if I wasn't present on social media. When it comes to AI overviews, and this is probably one of the most important things, because a lot of people think that they can hijack an AI overview overnight. When in some cases you can, especially the easier ones, but if you're going after something super difficult, you want to be seen everywhere as much as possible. You want to be seen on LinkedIn. You want to be seen on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, in as many places as you possibly can. Now, if we take a look here, right, this is just my knowledge panel for my actual name. As you can see, my YouTube ranks, my Instagram ranks. I've got my latest posts coming in from Facebook. I've got my LinkedIn. I've got my Twitter account. And then there's also a load of videos, and there's also shorts as well. I am basically being as omni-channel as possible right now to try and rank in as many different locations and as many different spots as possible. If I wasn't doing that, then basically Google would not trust me as much when it comes to ranking me for certain keywords like Best SEO Experts 2026, etc. Now, if you can replicate even just one or two of these things, you're going to have a much nicer and easier chance to rank in LLMs. Whereas if you're doing none of these things and you're just hoping that you can build one or two assets, for example, one or two links, mention your name, and that's how you want to try and get into AI overviews, that's going to be a very, very difficult task. Now, that's been my video on how to rank in LLMs, GEO, AI SEO, AI overviews. I don't know what the cool kids call it nowadays, but that's been my video. It's been like a 31-minute long video. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to work with me, head over to kasra.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. Thank you for watching.